Welcome back to the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. We are here with another draft scouting report. Coming down the home stretch here, we have 74 other videos up on the channel highlighting our top 75 prospects that we came up with as I call us the Sleepers Media conglomerate think tank with my good friend Riley Davis here. Riley, how we doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's nice. Like you said, coming up on the home stretch of this, it's been fun scouting some of these guys, like getting them to my I guess scouting bag, so to speak, watching film from the past couple of seasons. But I'm ready to wrap it up. We're starting to scraping the bottom of the scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But appreciate everybody who's tuning in because we know there are people out there who still care about these guys. And you never know, some of these dudes might be on an NBA roster in a few years, maybe even in a playoff game. So excited to talk Jesse Edwards today.
And when your team does figure out why Jesse Edwards is going crazy, you're gonna come back to this YouTube channel and watch this video and be like, I told you so. But it's funny we're doing Jesse Edwards because we are the aforementioned ACC guys. Jesse Edwards, a former ACC player, honestly was very highly touted when he transferred from Syracuse. So there was a lot of tools there. So I'm very interested to actually get into this one. What is one word you would use to describe Jesse Edwards?
I'm cheating and picking two words because we're at prospect number 71. No one cares. I said Derek Lifeless.
The opposite of Derek Lively.
And what I mean by that is like truly just a poor man's Derek Lively. I mean, he's got this very similar type of build, 7 feet tall. I think he was a little over 7 foot in shoes at the combine, 7'5" wingspan, and really just makes his hay by catching lobs and blocking shots. That's going to be his role at the next level. And I actually like Edwards. I think there's a chance he's going to stick on a roster or at least appear somewhere down the line. But yeah, it was too many similarities to pass up Derek Lifeless. But how about you? What's your one word for him?
So my one word was anchor because I think that at the minimum he can be a guy who at 7 feet can alter. Like he's always been a shot blocker, even going back to his Syracuse days. The one thing that was his calling card was his shot blocking, and you thought maybe there was something else there. But unfortunately, throughout his time, even though he was able to average close to 15 points at West Virginia, straight up Jesse Edwards' touch around the basket just is not there. It really
Mm-hmm.
isn't, and that's what makes the difference. Probably why he's back towards the 75s and not maybe like high 40s. Because with his size and his defensive ability, I just think his touch around the basket is not as great. And though he is a good shot blocker, I don't think he's the best instinctual shot blocker. But Derek Lively playing well for the Mavericks might give Jesse Edwards a little bit of a bump
Right.
here moving forward. So where'd you have Jesse Edwards as far as reaching his floor or his ceiling?
I'll say closer to his floor. Yeah, just what you hit on those some of those limitations. I think he's not the. I mean, I called him Derek Lifeless because he's not the same type of uber athlete that Lively is. I think he needs to bulk up some, and the fact, I mean, he played 5 years of college basketball, and he's only listed at 237 pounds. I think was his. I can't remember if that was his West Virginia weight or his combine weight, but under 240. Like you want to see him get a little bit bigger to truly stick in the league. And yeah, like you mentioned, the touch around the baskets, the free throw shooting numbers were never quite like you just have a much smaller margin for error when you're not an elite athlete, despite some of the shot blocking and the lob threat tendencies that he has.
Yeah, I had floor for him as well. Just he's played too honestly, it's against him, but he's played so much college basketball, and I haven't seen enough development over these past couple years that gives me the inkling that this guy's gonna be able to hit his ceiling. But the floor might not be as bad as someone can find something with that. What's a team that you have as a good landing spot for Jesse Edwards?
So I went with the Mavericks just because there's a clear archetype to follow. And again, once you're getting into these undrafted free agent types or the two-way guys who can give a little more preference for where they want to land, I think it'd be smart for him to get with a contender, try to catch on with a team who has a good track record of developing bigs and see what happens.
Yeah, I picked the Nuggets for this because I know they're going to have some late picks in the second round. And look, they were bringing DeAndre Jordan off the bench as the backup center. Like eventually, DeAndre Jordan's going to have to move on to his next aspect of life. And maybe Jesse Edwards is a player that could just play some spot minutes behind Jokic and give them something and develop there.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have for his best stat line of his peak stats in his career?
I in 5 years, I'm not projecting him to be on an NBA roster, but I think at some point, maybe it might take 7, 8, 9 years. I think he can catch on and at least be a role player for a bad team. Like that's probably on the worst case end of things, and maybe give you like 6 points, 5 boards a game, and close to a block.
Yeah, so I had 6.6 rebounds, 2 blocks. I think he'll maybe even like you said on a bad team, like he could pad his stats for the Hornets if they're still bad in a couple years. Like that'd be the prototypical thing. Like you know how Nick Richards was going dumb for them for a little bit? Like that could be him.
Don't spoil my best case player comp.
Oh, I
Look
didn't.
at us on the same wavelength.
Wow, yeah,
Always,
that's just
always.
that's always us. Oh, sorry, Derek Lively. Now you got me on that. In 5 years, where's Jesse Edwards? I had him listed as G League.
I had him overseas just because he's Canadian. Maybe he's familiar with
Hey,
international
he's
basketball.
Dutch. He's
He's
Dutch.
Dutch. Did I mess
Yep.
that up?
He is
That's on
Dutch.
me. That's on me, Jesse.
I think he played for the Netherlands. I had a note here that he played for the Netherlands national team. So one of us is right or wrong. Is he Canadian?
He's Dutch. You're right. I don't know where I got Canada from.
Come on, Carter. All right. All right. Let's move on to the last, the superlatives here. Jesse Edwards is most likely to finish that sentence.
I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm a fan of your game. Like I said, I can see you catching on, but most likely to airball free throw and
Oh, man, I've actually seen him do that a couple times, so it's like not out of the realm. I
dude,
had
he
no, go
has
ahead.
some otherworldly stat lines. Like even this past year, I didn't pay attention to West Virginia. West Virginia was a train wreck, but I watched him plenty at Syracuse as an ACC guy. He had a 36-point game against TCU at West Virginia while shooting 6 for 18 from the free throw line
That's
and
crazy.
still had 36. Like that's why, but yeah, you got to clean it up a little bit, Jesse.
Every time I watched him, I always felt like his shoulder was one more bump away from hurting too. Like he was just always grabbing it and had like the brace on it, and he needs to get that healthy before anything. I had him as most likely to be dominant for his national team FIBA player, but like be buried on the bench in the league. Like he
Mm,
lives for World Cups and Olympics and
uh-huh.
things like that, but he just can't get off the. But he's a FIBA legend, a FIBA just mastermind, like a Rondé Hollis Jefferson for Jordan.
Uh-huh.
All right, but make sure you tune into the rest of the channel for the other 74 of these videos.
The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.